Today, she will be talking about blockchain technology and applications, so let's welcome her.
Good afternoon. All right, so the topic is blockchain technology and applications. Have you heard of the word blockchain? Is the term new to you for some of you? What do you think? Maybe let's do this. Let's do some quick survey, okay? I heard that some of you or many of you feel happy that you are allowed to use mobile device during this session. So I will not allow you to use for just photo or something, right? But will be, of course, to do certain activities, interaction together. So pick your mobile, okay? Is it connected? Make sure you're connecting to the internet using your mobile phone. Okay, so you are that's nothing wrong. Okay, so it is rated from 0 to 10. That means this topic is quite at the beginning level for you, right? You may have heard of the term, may know something about it, but you may not consider yourself expert or far from some distance from the expertise in that area. Which is, of course, I want you to learn something from my session, okay? Give one word, 2 words, 3 words you think you know about blockchain. For example, if you think it is something related to bank, you may say bank. If you think it's related to some other thing, you say those other things. You can type in a few items. Recording, transactions, what is it? Database, bank, you believe me? Online, connected, transactions, again, notes, peer-to-peer, there are those very related terms comes out. Cryptography, what else? Decentralized network, no third party. Oh, some of you know about this somehow. What else? Ledger, Bitcoin, access. What else do we have? Safe, transactions, transparency, interconnected, smart contract, fintech. Okay, that's interesting. Those are very related terms indeed. Okay, so for those who think you're quite new, okay, so it's something that's related to what I say, what are thrown out from our session. That is, of course, it's related to Bitcoin. They have some relationships definitely. It's about peer-to-peer network. It's about decentralized. It's about database. And it's also related to the concept of transparency, no third party. Okay, all right. So let me pause it here, okay, for this online tool. Now you are with me so that we can learn something. And if we have enough time, we will do some simulation, okay? And that simulation, you need to role play. That means at the beginning, before we can role play or learn this thing, by having ourselves participating, practicing, learning the concept, you need to at least have some conceptual understanding, right? Okay, so that is the time you need to be with me first. All right, before we can move to Before we can move to talk about blockchain in detail, let's think about some situation, okay? If someone wants to transfer or give money to some other person, what can we do? If of course we are together, we can directly give the money. But if we are not together, what could you do? Transfer using maybe the bank. Go to the bank. If you don't have the connection to the internet, you go to the bank. You need to enter detail of the other person you want to transfer money to, right? And there are many other ways, like, do you know PayPal? Yeah, you can also use PayPal or some other methods too, right? But that requires what? First, suppose this person, okay, wants to transfer to this person, this amount. You need to go to some third party, like a bank, like PayPal, like some other organization, central authority, whoever. So he or she or the organization itself will need to validate certain things for you. Of course, it will validate that. Suppose it's not you giving the money. Suppose it's like 10,000 US dollar. It's not small money, or 1 million or whatever. At least I go and say, I want to transfer 1 million to you. What the bank would need to check? Do I have that money first, right? Do I really have the money to transfer? They will not just do it, right? Oh, you don't have that money, sorry. That is to validate the money in your account. And of course, suppose there's some account with that money. They need to validate that I'm the owner of that account too, right? I cannot just transfer money from somebody else's account. It has to be me, my account. And of course, validate the other party, suppose transfer to this and that number, transaction number, account number. So there are many things that involve the need of the third party. And of course, later on, suppose I already successfully transferred the money to you guys. Later on, you come and tell me that, hey, Dr. Chutiporn, you said you will transfer me the money. I didn't receive it. What should I do? You deny. I may need to go and check some document. If I lost it, if I already throw away, how can I do it? Check with the bank maybe, right? Okay, if the bank says something, we need to trust the bank, right? If I indeed think that I do, but the bank say, no, you didn't do, and the other person say also that I didn't receive, then, okay, so there are many parties involved, and certain things could happen, of course, and everything is based on the trust on the third person. And of course, we have quite a well-established policy and procedures and so on that of course we can trust the bank, right? Otherwise, we cannot have the economic of the global and each country like this. So the bank should have certain transparency or certain policy so that everyone can trust to do certain transactions with them. Okay, so what are we talking about? So we are talking about the idea that how about, what if? Think of it in a different way. If that trusted party, the bank, cannot be trusted, or we don't want to trust, how can we make sure that we can trust the other party? There could be ways that the party could it could happen that fraudulence could happen as well, and many other things, right? So the motivation is that, is it possible that we can have some digital asset, digital object stored in a computer, just like a file of Microsoft Word, just like a photo that you own that photo, right? And then it has certain value. And we can actually use that digital token. Okay, you can consider it, use the term token. Transfer that token to somebody else securely. And we don't need the third party. That is, we don't need bank, we don't need PayPal. Is it possible? What do you think? It's like you send a picture. Oh, you can send the picture to many of your friends, right? Why don't we just send our digital token, digital coins, just call it digital money to other people without using the third party? Because nowadays you can transfer money using internet banking, e-banking, mobile banking, but that means you still need the bank. You still need to deposit your money with the bank. You actually have your real money with the bank. And the bank just keep the figure, right? That, okay, you have 1 million with me. And you can transfer from this 1 million to whoever you want. And one day you come and check, you find that your 1 million baht from the bank is gone. So what would happen? Something like that. You trust it. Okay. So this is the original idea. Is there any challenges? What do you think? Are there any challenges? When you copy a photo in a computer file, is it easy? Can we do the same? So like we have some file representing money. Then we just copy, and if I give my digital money to you, just copy that file to you. Is it okay? It is 1 million. Then we have 2 million now, right? Because it's a double. When I copy and give to you, I still have that copy. You have that copy, and everybody else can do the same thing, and then we have actually too much money now. So that is one challenge. Regardless of what any format or file, if you just use ordinary technology, like file copying, everybody can copy, then this is not secure, it's not trusted, right? We cannot avoid the concept of what we call double spending. Because when it is like, I already pay to you, I should not have that, right? It's like I give my money to you, then money is gone from me and then to you. But if it is digital file, it's still with me, and then I have another one to you. So these are challenges. And that is the origination of blockchain technology. The idea that blockchain technology wants to solve and want to do. That is, how can actually we store this kind of financial transaction, and it could be applied to things that is not related to financial sectors or financial domain as well. But the thing is, how can we actually do these financial transactions using digital technology without really having the digital, without really having the physical asset, and without relying on trusted third party, which we don't know whether we can really trust. If all the banks in the world, or all these some organizations, they want to do something bad, suppose, okay, they can do, right? And then because we already trust them, we already give the money to them, and somehow they say that no, you don't have the money with me, and you cannot do anything. Okay, so that is the thing. So blockchain, the origination of blockchain. Today is 2017, right? Oh, 2018. So it's already 10 years. It was conceptualized, invented in 2008 by a person called Satoshi Nakamoto. You know who is he? No, we don't know. It's a pseudonymous name, so we exactly don't know. And another thing in blockchain is that you don't need to know the person. It can be anyone. But of course, it can prove with certain technology that we can prove that I am the owner of that money without telling that who you are, who you really are, without having your identity card, showing passport or whatever. Okay? So the intention is to use blockchain to serve for what we call public transaction ledger. And it's of course a foundation technology that underlies what we call Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a kind of digital money, cryptocurrency. Okay. All right, so a little bit about blockchain, just some basic concepts, basic things related to blockchain, okay? What it is the digital ledger that is used for keeping record of all transactions taking in place on a peer-to-peer network. We will talk about this term. Peer-to-peer network means is a network of computers. Computers, later on we'll call it, sometimes they will be called nodes. Okay, so it's kind of public transaction ledger recording whatever that happened, like A transfer money to B for 200 coins, B transfer money to C for 5 coins, C do something. This is all recorded in this public ledger. And these records that happen, okay, will be encrypted, and it has technology to ensure that what is written there or recorded there will not be changed by anybody else. Suppose that I say I transfer 10 coins to you. It would mean that later I cannot change it to I transfer 5 coins to you or 100 coins to you. When it was already there, it should not be changed because it is supposed to be the history that everyone can refer to, right? And can be trusted. The data is correct and trusted. And it is based on the decentralized network that there is no need for a central authority like a bank that store data and store everything. But it is decentralized, that is stored on all the distributed nodes in the network. And everyone can join these nodes to kind of keep this public ledger on your own machine, on your own nodes as well. And of course, the blockchain technology support not only the transfer of money or currency, what we call cryptocurrency, but it can be used for many other things like contracts, records, and other kinds of data. So you can think that whatever data that is stored there in blockchain, the first thing that it will make sure is that whatever that has been stored there will not be changed. If it say that last year I used to get money from someone, from my parent, then it will be there. But of course later on the total amount that I have at the moment, the balance, it will be changing, right? It can change because I may spend it, I may receive more from other people. But to say that I used to send you this money, you used to send me this money, it will be there, nobody can change it. That is the property. So when it is like this, we can trust the data. And there is nobody saying that. The situation, as I said, that when I say I transfer you 1 million, you cannot deny saying that, no, I never received 1 million from me. It's written there that you received 1 million from me. And you cannot just erase it because you may want another million from me, suppose. If that happens, we may want to alter the data somehow so that we can take some benefit from that, right? But when it is this kind of idea, cannot be changed, so the data must be accurate and we can rely on this data. And what does it do when we say that peer-to-peer networks? What does it mean? It means like the network of us here. I ask you to, we all share the same ledger. So when whatever happened, suppose I transfer 10 baht to you, to that person A. Then you write down, Chutiporn transfer 10 baht to A. And every one of you write down. And another transaction say that Mr. X transfer 200 baht to Mr. Y. Everybody write down. When something happened, why say that I didn't receive the money? What can we do? Check. If check in this ledger, it say that transfer. Check in another ledger, it say that X transfer to Y, X transfer to Y. Then we can believe that X really transferred to Y. Then Y cannot deny that I never received your money, right? But if it is a centralized record, maintained by someone just like me. Why can't maybe bribe me, right? Hey, just delete this record so that I can tell X that transfer me another time. But when everyone takes the same copy, you cannot tell or bribe everyone or do something wrong with that record and ask everyone to change the record, right? So that is one mechanism that is used. And no need to rely on a central person or third party like the bank to record everything. So when everything wrong, we go and consult the bank and say that, can you prove that X really transferred to Y? And then that means I need to rely on the bank, okay? So, in more detail, okay, I talk a little bit more with some technology so that you can understand why that can really happen. Why these things, as I said, that when someone already make some transaction, why can we prove that nobody can change it, can change the data? So, what is the technology in detail? So from the name, blockchain, it means that actually it is a chain of many blocks. Okay, so what is a chain? A block. You know a chain, right? Chain would be a list. One block after another and another block after another, just like this picture. So it could be this is the first block. This is the second block. After the first, this is the third block connecting to the second, right? So it is chain in the way. So it is a list of very long, many blocks that could be there. And this is what I already mentioned. One interesting and important property of a blockchain is that it must be very difficult or impossible to change whatever data that is stored in the block and already recorded there. Okay? So a block. We know that it is a blockchain, right? So what is inside a block? Why do we need to have many blocks connecting to each other or chaining to each other in this manner? A block, you can think of a block as a kind of things that we can store data. And what is stored in the data, what data is stored in, what kind of things that are stored in the block? For simplicity, actually there are more, okay, but for simplicity, it's just for your understanding, to get understanding about the basic concept. I refer to only these three important components of a blockchain, of a block within a blockchain. So it contains, of course, the data. We will talk about these things, okay, don't worry. Hash and hash of previous block. So what are they, each of them? The first component that is stored in the block actually could be any data. You can use blockchain to store any data, whether it is your transcript, your grade result, because then professor, you give me A and 100% score for this course. You cannot change it for the whole rest of the life. That should be the case, right? You get the grade. Nobody can change it. It should be like that. So things that you don't want to be changed or tampered. And we need to really rely on the correctness of the data. Can be stored. Not only financial data or these things. But suppose that let's use the banking scenario because it's easy to understand. So what data can be there? For example, is the data that someone transfers some money to another one. Like, at least transfer to Bob $100 US. This can be recorded. This is the data part. So that's easy. Any data can be there in the block. Okay? The second part, this is challenging now. This is one of the very important things of blockchain technology. It's what we call hash. And what is a hash? Hash is a kind of function, mathematics function or algorithm in computer. Okay? Such that when you give an input, which could be any input data, could be anything, it will produce, when it is a function, it means that it takes some input and it produces some output, right? That is the meaning of function. Okay. So when you take some input to this hash function, it will generate certain output, which should be a fixed length string of characters and should be long enough. And this hash value, we call it hash value, the value of the hash function, we call it hash value. It is supposed to be unique for whatever input you give. So that would mean, suppose I take this data as an input to the hash function and got the result of this value. If I change something in my input data, the hash will be changing as well. So it is used to say that, it is used to prove that nothing has changed in the input. So suppose I say that whatever inside this block, I take a hash and it generates me this long text. If you change something, even one single character, you change it from 5 to 10, from 5 to 6 or whatever, or add a space, or add this and add that, or remove something, very small change, this hash result will be changing. So suppose when I say that the data that is here must produce this hash, but later on someone gives me another, try to change the data, and hash of that data that has been modified will be changing. I have some example of the hash function so that you can easily understand. So this could be a sample, but it's a simple one, okay? Whatever data it is, like hello, do you see the hash change? If I just remove space here, hash will change. Or I just make it hell. So whatever data I have, okay, it will produce different hash. And if I use the same data, it will also produce the same hash. Suppose I hash my account balance 200. Suppose I use the blockchain to store the balance of my account today, now, this second, this moment. It has this value, okay? Later on, someone tries to help me become richer. The hash will change. So whenever we want to prove that the data has been changed by someone that we don't want, we can also consider the hash. So I can tell to you that whatever data it is there, if the hash of that data is equal to this, you can guarantee that no one tries to change that data. Suppose I write you a secret letter. No, not a secret. I write you some letter, some message, or send you something. You want to prove that is it really an original message from me? Because everyone can write something, right, on behalf and say that, oh, it's from Chutiporn. How can you trust that it's really from Chutiporn? Usually what do? We may sign, right? In traditional way, whatever you write and you want to believe that that person really writes the letter, what we do? We just sign. We believe that signature is kind of way to prove that it is that person, okay? So this is one component that is used, but it's not, I'm not talking about very complex stuff. Okay, and as I said, modifying anything inside a block will cause the hash to change. So this is a way to guarantee that no one has changed anything inside the block. And not yet, that is not completing the story because it still have many holes. Yes?
And when you wrote word hello,
Yep.
hash changed, and after that, if you want to delete this word, hash will change to new one or to previous one.
So actually, if we delete, it means there is nothing, no data. So we are not considering a hash of nothing, right? But it's just for for the example. Usually it must be a hash of some data, so it has to be something. Hello, my name is, or some word, but not totally empty data. But even empty, it has some result as well.
Excuse me. I have another question. What if someone, changes the hash, changes the data, and then shows it to someone, and then changes it back? So will there be any record of it, or it will be like a loophole?
You mean in the blockchain or just in general
No, in
of the
blockchain.
hash? So there is no purpose of doing it because
no,
if
probably like I want to show you that I have $10,000 in my bank account. So, but I actually have 1,000. So I make it 10,000, then I show you. Then I again change it to 1,000. So will there be any record, or it's like a loophole in the system?
actually there will be another component that I need to explain, then that will not be possible. What you asked me will not be possible. Because when you say that you change it back, okay, so it's kind of trying to delete the history, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but that will not happen. So let's look at this next thing. The third component, remember, is the hash of previous block. So this is a way of chaining. So look at this one. This is the first block, okay? And actually the term is called Genesis block. It's the first block. So it's special. The hash of this block, suppose, okay, I use some assume data because you cannot just take real hash, it's too long. It should be long enough so that it's very difficult to. So the hash of this block is this value. And of course, the hash of the previous block is nothing because it's the first block, no previous. Second block, of course, it has data inside, and the hash and this second block have three components, right? The data, the hash, and the hash of the previous. So the previous hash should be linking to the previous block, hash of previous block. So this is a way that we chain block together. The second block will link to the first block. And actually this is considered to be part of the blockchain inside the blockchain, inside the block. So altogether everything will be hashed, and we got this value. Even you change this to some other value, this will change too because it considered part of the thing inside the block. So everything inside the block will be hashed, even this one. Okay. So the third block, what it is? Of course, it may have whatever data it is, like I have this money, I transfer that money to you, and so on. And it has a link to the previous block using the hash. And it has its own hash. So suppose I have another block, number 4. What to do? Of course, I need to link that block number 4 to which hash? This, right? And hash of my number 4 block. How can I answer you? Okay, look at this. Hey, someone want to change something here for some benefit, right? Even changing, as I said, changing the grade. Suppose in a study life, grade is everything for some of us, right? So we want to change the grade. What will happen? Of course, you change from A to B, that's impossible. You change from B to A, okay? It will result into a hash change. And what will happen? Everything follow will be invalid because this hash, when it already changed, the connecting blocks later on will become invalid, right? It should become invalid. Or even, so what you can do, if you are this person, you need to also change this. right? And if you change this to this one, what will happen? This hash will also change. Definitely. And if this hash change, what will happen? The next hash, the next previous hash of block number 4 will need to be updated or modified. So if you really want to do this, you need to control all the chains, all the blocks in the chain. And of course, if there is only one single copy of this blockchain, you might be able to do it, because suppose it is in the traditional way, that is on a bank with a trusted centralized person, right? This data is maintained by a bank. If you can hack into the bank database, you can change whatever. You can have $100 million or whatever, right? It's the same. If it is one single copy, you may be able to do it for all the blocks. But that is another thing. Blockchain is designed to be on a peer-to-peer network or distributed network of computers. That means anyone, I want to join the blockchain, to be one of the nodes in this blockchain, to have my computer joining this. And that means if I join, I will have a copy of the blockchain in my computer. If you join, you also have a copy of blockchain in your computer, and everyone who wants to join will be the same. So if that past situation, scenario happen, suppose we are here, some bad guy doing some change here and change here and change here and change here successfully. Do you think that you will be able to change data of the other? No. It's like, as I said, suppose I ask you to record this data, every one of you having the same record of the data, right? Write down in paper, even it is in paper based. If I want to change something, I need to keep changing on every copy every one of you have or maintain, right? Then I can successfully change the data. But can I really do that? Maybe not. So peer-to-peer network or blockchain network is network of computers known as nodes that anyone can join and participate in this chain. So what happened? When there's a new block created, because some transaction is generated, someone wants to transfer some money to another person, then it has to be written inside a block, right? So this new block contains the data. And to add this to the chain, of course, there are many things happening. That is, we need to verify the correctness of the data in the block too. Suppose, as I said, I want to record in this block, say that I transfer you 1 million. It needs to check, of course, do you really have 1 million? First condition. Also, the correctness of the data to be stored in the block must be validated too. It's not like I can write anything and store it, right? So from the history, actually we can know that how much money do you have. Initially I have 100 baht. I transfer to you 20 baht. Another person give me another 50 baht, and so on and so on. So finally you know how much money I have nowadays, right? So if I want to do something, I can also need to check it and so on. So there are a lot of mechanisms. So when a new block happens, created, what to do next is that it must be validated. Data inside the block must be validated and accepted by the consensus of everyone in the network. By the consensus, that means not everyone, but majority, right? If that happens, that new block will be added to every node. Okay? And that, of course, the thing will happen in this manner. So, in summary, what would happen is that the whole picture, when someone wants to do some transaction, request to perform some transaction like transfer of money, okay, that request will be broadcasted to the network, okay, and the network will validate the transaction using the algorithm, the method that it performs, okay, and if the transaction is validated and verified, it will involve, of course, it will involve a lot of technologies inside actually to make sure that it will be kept anonymous, it will be checking the authentication authority and many other things, okay? And once it has been verified, it will be combined with other transactions. I mean, we are not making transaction alone, right? The many other people are also making transactions. So inside one block, it can contain many transactions, not only one transaction per block, because it will be too small. So the new block will be created and added to existing chain. And with this way, whatever that has already been added and confirmed successfully will be permanent. Because as you said, especially when it is at the very beginning, when it has actually many subsequent blocks. If it has too many subsequent blocks, changing something will be difficult, right? You might think that changing data here, trying to change the data here, or trying to modify, alter the data here, which one is much more difficult? Here, right? Okay.
Excuse me, I have another question.
Yes.
Who is going to make the verification? Like there is no bank, right? And this is decentralized. So who is going to make the verification of the transaction?
Every node, before you add it into your own chain, your own copy, you will verify it. So the computer, of course, the computer node in the network will be verifying. So everyone will be verifying and will agree. So it's not just centralized bank, but everyone. So it's like I ask you to write down, I transfer this person 100 baht. Before you write down into your block, you need to verify. That's it. Because you're not writing anything without knowing whether it's true or not. But to verify is just, there are algorithms for verification. At least there are many other algorithms. At least, of course, checking whether the person, there is really money, that's not difficult, right? If I want to transfer money, the way to verify that I have money, is it difficult? Because the money is the money in the blockchain, it's not money outside. Everything should be data inside, so every data is recorded. So if you trace back to the history, you will know everything. It's not the data outside. If we are talking about data that is not in the blockchain, of course, it's not possible. But the data is already within the blockchain. Saying that I originally have this money has been given from me to other person, and that other person use that money to give to other person, you can trace this, right? By starting from this, you can trace everything. But actually, it's not that complicated because you think that, oh, if the chain is too long, then tracing from the history will take ages. There are more better, efficient way, but it requires knowledge of some other things. So I better explain in this easier way. Okay, it requires a knowledge of cryptography, security, public-private key, and so on. There's too much. Okay, but if let's say data is there in the block, you can verify, right? Yeah. And actually, if you fail to verify, and you have a some data that is wrong here, it will be, the entire data will be inconsistent, right? Something is wrong there. So your blockchain will not be valid one. So you will, if you are the owner of the node, you will not allow that to happen. Okay. So cryptocurrency is just one application. So what we need to understand is the entire idea of blockchain first, the entire concept of blockchain. It's not like just keeping money, transferring money, but it can be, as I said, think about your great result is there, nobody can change. You can, if someone wants you approve, can I really trust you that this transcript is real? Because nowadays everyone can just use Photoshop to make everything. Suppose, right? I can even make my, but of course when it is a real copy, it is difficult. But if it is digital copy, you saw it in digital file. Oh, we can use computer graphic to make of whatever, right? How can I verify that whatever digital file you're giving me is real one? So blockchain you can refer to if it is stored in the blockchain and so on, but it depends on the domain as well. Okay. So if we talk about cryptocurrency, have you heard of this term? Sure, because when we look at the knowledge rating, at least every term has been heard on average. So let me give some definition, okay? We'll talk a little bit more in cryptocurrency. It is a medium of exchange, of course, created and stored electronically in blockchain using encryption techniques, and it can control the creation of monetary units and to verify the transfer of funds. And a well-known example of cryptocurrency is Bitcoin. Okay, and actually by itself, it has no intrinsic value, not like gold that it has a value, but by itself it is nothing, but of course we relate its value with something, right? And give the value to it. It has no physical form, you cannot touch it. Its supply is not determined by a central bank. Okay. So I have some quiz. I should give you some rule, okay? There are only 2 questions, and it's kind of just fun question. No need to be serious. It's just, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you cannot do anything. But then you will know. You'll be given only 20 seconds, maybe, to answer, okay? And the faster you answer, the higher score you will get. The faster and correct, okay? Not just the faster and wrong. Okay, let's start. How many cryptocurrencies are currently available? Choose the one that is closest to the value. Like more than 46, more than 460, more than 4,600, or more than 46,000. The other colors are too difficult to see. But of course, there are some of you trying this for 460. Okay, many of you, okay, the majority of you. But this is the correct one. Currently, there are more than 4,600 cryptocurrencies available. But of course, not all of them are used by everyone, right? Okay. So this one you don't have a score, but I just want to get some things from you. Give some names of known cryptocurrency. Only the name that you know, okay? Don't make up some currency of your own. Litecoin. Litecoin. Dogecoin. Ethereum. Yes. Ripple. Yep. Buscoin. Tokenism. Firecoin. Okay. I show the graph of, I show the list of other, these 4,600 coins to you. Okay, the next question. Oh, this is the score, sorry. What did we do in the first question? Okay, these are the score for those 8 person give correct answers. Okay, you know yourself, right? Where are you? The scoreboard. Okay, let's go to the last question. Maybe just guess, okay, for fun. How much is 1 Bitcoin now? Current price, current value. What did you guess? 15 of you made a correct guess. So currently 7,400 US dollar for 1 Bitcoin. Okay, that's it for the game. So show the winner. Hey, that's exciting. Okay, Sin, who are you, Sin? Wow, okay, congratulations. Sabina, you're great too. Dr. Cast, where are you? Who are you? Dr. Cast? Fish. Hi. Tiger and PP. And yeah, many of you actually do great because there's not so serious about this, right? If you know, you know it. If you don't know, you just know it. So this is the chart, the graph showing the value of Bitcoin in the past, from the past. Almost nothing to the very beginning, of course, and big hype over there. And now around this. Okay. But anyway, I'm not in this kind of investment. So I am not saying that you should invest, you should do anything in Bitcoin or not, okay? Just for the sake of knowledge that you should be aware about this thing. Because there are many countries that Bitcoin are invalid. You cannot use it in many countries and so on.